Hello and thank you for watching my video. This is a competition results video, so for those of you who didn't know, at the beginning of the month of June I set a little competition asking you guys what you'd like to know from ArenaNet, things that they couldn't really give away. Now, there were a lot of questions and comments both on Reddit and also on my channel, on my YouTube video, so I'm actually going to talk through. I'm going to have 10 sort of questions that came up, with the top 3 getting the rewards. Now, a couple of people had questions along the similar lines, so I have sort of grouped them together. But let's go through, and I'm going to give my feedback myself and my own views on this. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, Shinsetsu Tenshi asks, I'm wondering if they'll use this as an opportunity to maybe introduce our personal choice of orders back into the story. The Sylvari can't 100% be trusted, and Traherne's authority as pack leader is undermined now. Will people slip back into old allegiances such as the Orders, or will they keep faith in what they formed to defeat Zaitan? I mean, that is a really good question to ask. Obviously, it's going to be to do a lot with the story. And we've seen a lot in the betas. You know, there's lots of fractions between, you know, members of the pact and the Sylvari. But will, you know, obviously if you look at the Vigil, Larenthir, Sylvari, he's actually one of the main war masters of the Vigil. And obviously if you look at the Order of Whispers, they don't really have too many Sylvari at the top of their order. You look at the Derman Priory, again, very little. There are Sylvari in the Derman Priory, but there are very little that are actually in the leadership positions. But when you consider it, the Vigil, again, they have a Sylvari pretty much the top of their order. Are they going to start following, you know, are the Vigil going to start sort of going off on their own? It's an interesting question, but again, it's something that I don't think ArenaNet will be able to answer. But I do like the fact that they could bring our orders much more into focus, and have our choices that we made in the personal story affect the expansion. The next question was from VizHere47. Will Crystalline Ore be introduced in Heart of Thorns, and how will we be able to earn it? I don't think they'll be able to answer that, but will Crystalline Ore be introduced? It's been available in our bank section for a long time. I hope they do say, okay, yes, it is going to be introduced. Or they'll say, okay, right, we're just deleting it. It was an idea that we had, but it sort of got negated, and they didn't decide to come along with it. So ArenaNet, please give us a little heads up, saying, okay, it is coming into the game. It is a new ore. It is going to be something to do with ascended materials. You don't have to say that, but give us a clue, you know. It's just something that we're curious about. It doesn't mean that we're going to go, oh my god, let's go out and farm this and farm that. So, yes. Another question came in from both Prime and Anthony Doan saying, will Rangers get new pets? The pet tabs are pretty full at the moment, but it would be interesting to see if they are likely to get any new pets come in with the new abilities, things like slow and, you know, obviously the way that conditions are going to be changing. I would like to see some pets get modified. You know, there are a lot of pets out there that don't really get much use. So, ArenaNet, are we going to get new pets, or are you going to change the way pets, some of the conditions that they apply? Sneaky Grizzly and Zegart Visago says, well, along the lines of this, what I would like to know is once the expansion is launched, how will they start adding new mastery tracks to the game? Will it be through feature packs or live updates, or will we have to wait to another expansion to get our new set of masteries? So for those of you who haven't been keeping track, masteries are going to be to do with the 2 separate areas. You'll have the whole world of Tyria, which at the moment they have the precursor crafting and fractals, and then we have the Heart of Thorns masteries, which will include things like gliding and Itzel lore, so you can access different things there. You've also got mushroom jumping, and there's many different other ones. I have a feeling that they'll probably just introduce it with an update. They won't wait till the next expansion. If they come up with something, they'll be like, okay, let's have maybe you get a different weapon master, so you can actually increase your damage with melee weapons or something. It's an interesting question. It'd be great to hear what ArenaNet actually thinks along their mastery system, what they feel that it's going to set. Obviously, they've worked in the mastery system a long time. They're laying the groundwork with the initial implementation. But where are they going to look forward in, say, 6 months? How will the mastery system be holding up? Will there be new masteries coming in? And obviously, people want to keep having these goals to go for. Masteries are supposed to be the new way to level up once you are at level 80. And so by increasing more and more masteries, it means more people have more and more things to go for. So it's a good question. I would like to hear ArenaNet's thought on this. And how they see mastery proceeding, because we haven't really had much apart from the fact that it's the new way to level up. Boomsday 3 says, sort of on topic, sort of not. After the Heart of Thorns story is finished and we move on to the Living World again, will the Living World involve the new areas or just go back to the original ones and forget about the jungle? Now obviously I thought this question is going to be very difficult to answer for ArenaNet, but what I would like to say based on this is, what lessons have they learned from Season 1 and Season 2, and how are they likely to proceed with Season 3? It will also be interesting to see the timeline of when Season 3 is likely to come in, because ArenaNet must have an idea for how long people are going to take to finish the personal story in the Heart of Thorns, and say, okay, 3 months down the line, we are going to have a new season of Living World. So come say for example 2016, they could say, all right, for the beginning of 2016, that's when our new Living World Season 3 is going to hit, and we don't know, obviously we haven't played Heart of Thorns, so Living World Season 3 could be about finishing off Modramoth, or it could be about going after another dragon. We don't know that. But it'd be interesting to hear from ArenaNet what they have learned from the Living World Season 1 and 2, and how they are going to go about incorporating a new Living Season 3, Living World Season, and where it would fit in with other additional expansions. So we got Fergus Donan. Will removing the XP bar from World vs World and replacing it with the World vs World rank progression mean that we can no longer level through World vs World? This is a good question. I do think that you will be able to level through World vs World. All I think it means is that the progression bar at the bottom is just giving you World vs World ranking. You still get XP for going around killing enemies, and that actually will still enable you to level up. You just won't see the level you're actually at. It's a good question though. It'd be nice to get a little bit of clarification from ArenaNet on this. Are you still going to be able to level up through World vs World? Dark Raids asks, how are you going to earn mastery points, and could you do more diverse ways, PvP or World vs World? I think that they've pretty much explained a lot on how they're going to be earning mastery points. There are mastery sort of communes or challenges that you're going to get in Heart of Thorns, and also by doing events and adventures is their new system. But I like the question to do with PvP, because obviously no one really asked about the PvP reward tracks. Are we going to get new PvP reward tracks? And if we are there going to be, things like Tomes of Knowledge? Are they going to become things like mastery points? You get a mastery point for doing PvP, or doing World vs World, you might get a bag with a mastery point in it. Is that going to be the case? It's an interesting question. So we've got the top 3, and number 3 is from Elliot Petterson. It's only adding one elite specialization to every profession. Most people will want to play the new version of the profession instead of the old. How will you justify playing a Guardian when there is a Dragon Hunter with new exciting skills and a new weapon? So, yeah, it's a very good question, and, the Dragon Hunter will feel a lot different to how the Guardian plays, because the Dragon Hunter will be ranged weapons with traps. You've got the Necromancer becoming the Reaper, which is the idea. It's supposed to be a heavy damage dealing in close proximity. And you've also got, things like the Ranger becoming the Druid. We don't know too much about that yet. And we've got the few other specializations that we've yet to hear from them. But I don't think that, as someone who's got a Guardian, I've got multiple Guardians. I probably will put one of my Guardians as a Dragon Hunter. I'm going to make one of my Necromancers a Reaper. But I'm not going to make everyone all of them I'm not going to put as a specialization, because the idea is that they are very different in the way that they play. But it'd be very, very good to hear from ArenaNet and hear their opinion on this, because I feel it's a very, very good question. You know, the fact that these new specializations are designed to be an extra enhancement to the profession. But, you know, what is the incentive for playing Guardian as opposed to Dragon Hunter? Number 2. It was a split. A couple of people suggested the same sort of thing. Toby Jackson WoW and Kudula CZ. I'm quite a new player to Guild Wars 2, and I'm enjoying myself, but I really like PvE dungeons mainly. I would like to know how dungeons will be developed in the new expansion, such as are there any new dungeons and possibly how many? Now this is a really good question, and I feel that ArenaNet have been very, very quiet on this, and it has got a lot of people a little bit worried, because the dungeon system, the way it is at the moment, isn't brilliant. You know, it's just very, very quick dungeon running. It's not how they anticipated dungeons were, you know, supposed to be at the beginning, when Guild Wars 2 first launched, and it's not even how dungeons were in Guild Wars 1. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go back prior to the launch of Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns and do some dungeons in Guild Wars 1. But I feel ArenaNet really needs to come out and say, alright, look, we're not bringing out dungeons, we're bringing out different things in Heart of Thorns. Dungeons is something that we're going to be looking at to revamp in 2016. I think that's an idea. If they are going to be bringing in new dungeons, it'd be interesting to hear their thoughts on that and how they are expected to be different from the dungeons that they have interior currently. And the number one question, so obviously with these two, because two people mentioned it, I'm actually going to split the prize, as the same was the case for the second prize as well, for the second question. From Draxion and Disco Poppin', will we get a character slot when we buy Heart of Thorns? Oh, this is a question I so desperately want answered. Everybody keeps asking me, are we expected to get a character slot? I will make a little comparison. Again, if we look at Guild Wars 1, the two expansions that came after the initial game release of Prophecies were Factions and Nightfall, both of which offered extra character slots. The fourth game to come out to do with Guild Wars 1 was the Eye of the North, which did not reveal any new, or did not include any new actual game character slots. The only difference is that with the previous two, you actually got new professions with the expansion. In the Heart of Thorns, we're getting a Revenant. I would expect them to give us a new character slot. However, I'm just in case, I'm actually buying gems. And I think what ArenaNet should do is say, okay, look, we're not going to give you a new character slot, but 2 weeks prior to the launch of Heart of Thorns, they're going to do a sale, a gem store sale on character slots for, you know, allowing people to buy extra character slots for Revenants and other professions and other to do with the specializations. I think that they need to improve their communication, and this sort of communication is very, very lacking between ArenaNet and the community at the moment. And I think just being a bit more open and being a bit more allowing players to get ahead of ahead of themselves and prepare for these new changes would be really beneficial. So I'm hoping ArenaNet have watched this video and seen some of these questions and can answer some of these questions if you want to. It would really mean a lot to myself and the community, because we do love this game, but we miss out on a few questions that we just want answered. And I'm hoping that you're able to answer some of these. Thank you very much for watching. If you feel any comments that you've got on these questions, any debate you want to start, feel free to leave any comments, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.